Korea News Network. Today's story will be on South Korea's government and how it is affecting South Korea today. Now to Rachel Bloom.
This is Sknn News reporting live with Rachel Bloom. Now, we're going to learn some fun facts about the branches of government in Korea. One fun fact about the legislative branch is it has 299 members in it. And the thing about Korea is that it's the 12th largest economy in the world. Which, I don't know about you and me, but being Korean and all, that's pretty good. Okay. Recently, a student actually wrote a political cartoon and was fined 1.5 million won, which is equivalent to $1,300 US in America. That cartoon. That's a large price to pay for drawing a political cartoon. Let's be honest here, people. No one should have to pay $1,300 US for saying something is funny, for making people laugh. Now, back to you, Sydney.
So, I will be reporting on the executive branch of the South Korean government. The executive branch holds the president, obviously. The president serves 5-year terms, and unlike the United States, they have no re-election. So you can only be a president for 5 years, not 10 years, not 15. So, the president is also part of the cabinet, along with about 30 other people, 15 to 30 other people, and the cabinet consults the president on things like military and laws and bills going through. The president resides in Seoul in what they call the Blue Roofed House, which is just where all the presidents have lived in the past. Like the President of the United States, like the White House, they have the Blue Roofed House. So there are a lot of ministry positions, such as the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Health and Welfare, and the Ministry of Agriculture. There's also the Ministry of Sports and Tourism. So they have a lot of ministries where they work with many different types of people and try to do the best they can for their people. Back to you, Rachel.
Hello there, this is Rachel reporting live on Sknn. Now, we're going to be talking about the judicial branch in South Korea today. Now, the judges must have 2 years of apprenticeship in order to work for the Supreme Court. Judges must also be at least 40 years of age and have at least 15 years of experience. Now, I don't know about you, but 15 years, is that really needed? You cannot be older than 65. Other than that, you are out of there. There are many types of courts in Korea, such as we have the Supreme Court, the Constitutional Court, and many regional courts. So there are actually very many courts for different criminals. And one of them that are extremely important, though, is the Supreme Court. Now, back to you, Sydney.
Now to Rachel with the weather in South Korea today. Now, how are you doing, Rachel?
Hello, this is Rachel Bloom reporting live in Seoul, South Korea. It is raining right now, as you can see, in Seoul, and we're supposed to be expecting more this week. Now, back to Sydney with tonight's suicide rate.
Alright, suicides in South Korea. Now, this is a very, very serious issue because South Korea is meant to be a peaceful state. We are shown to the media as peaceful and loving and kind, but a lot of what we don't show is the massive suicide rates in Korea versus other countries. Now, South Korea has the second highest suicide rates of any other country in the world, which is outrageous. And the majority of these suicides are from the elderly. The majority of these suicides are from the elderly and from the teenage youth. And so a lot of the reason the elderly are committing suicide is because they are so poor and in need of money and in need of food and love. So their families in South Korea do not help the elderly. They are not really accustomed to helping their older family members. So these people commit suicide because they don't want to live alone and without anything in poverty. So that's one of the main reasons that elderly are committing suicide in South Korea, and that is there's a major reason why the elderly are committing suicide, and that is a major problem. We can't let this keep happening. So the other one was teenage kids, 11 to 19 years old, and these kids are committing suicide because of the pressure on them to get good grades in order to get a good job and get a good career and get into college. There's so much pressure on these kids, on these students, that on their standardized test day, the airplanes are forbidden from flying on those days so that the students may focus. And that's just outrageous. That's so much pressure on a young kid that's a lot of hard work to have to put in. South Korea is very competitive. There's a lot of competition in it. And a lot of it is also with looks. You are required to submit a picture of your face when getting a job. And if a lot of times, if you're not super good looking, you don't get the job. And that's not okay. We can't, what if there's someone that got a 4.0 GPA, they're acing every test, and there's someone who got a 3.0 GPA, but they just have really good looks, and the person with the 3.0 gets the college scholarship. That's just not okay. So another reason is mental health. A lot of these students are very depressed and very, very suicidal, but there's not very many therapists. They don't know. Mental health is not a big deal in South Korea. They don't take it into account when talking to students. They don't take it into account a lot of times when doing anything. So mental health is a very, very small thing in South Korea, but it needs to be bigger. We need to stop these suicide rates. We need to stop this from happening and get back to the happy South Korea that we can be and that we should be. And anyway, that has been South Korea News Network. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you have been informed. Goodbye, I'm Sydney Pearson.